Doug Stringer is the founder of Somebody Cares International, and he joins us with Tom to share how God is moving.
Dr. Doug Stringer from Somebody Cares International. I have to ask you a very personal question here. You've been going through a difficulty with cancer. Could you just share a little bit about how's God led you through that? I mean, we can have a ministry, we can think everything's going great, and all of a sudden something like that hits us, really challenges our faith. How's God helped you through this?
Absolutely. Back in March of this year, 2015, I noticed some lumps in my throat at the gym. I still like to exercise, and as you know, I used to be in the fitness business and back 34 years ago. And so I called some doctors, emailed them, and they said, you need to go get a biopsy. I went, and shortly thereafter found out it was aggressive B-cell lymphoma cancer, and that they did some more tests and found out that it had gone through my whole body, so stage 4.
Oh, wow.
And so my wife and I immediately talked about this, and I thought, you know, the Lord is really using us to be a voice to awaken the church in America and to really reach out at a time to be bridge builders to the body of Christ so we can reach more people. So we're not going to let Jezebel, that spirit, stop us from being a voice of the Lord, just like Jezebel tried to stop Elijah. And so I thought, so we're not going to leave our calling for our healing, because our healing is in our calling. And so at that point, we just began to pray through, and so many wonderful friends all over the world began to pray. People came out of the woodwork, and we realized that we really could not allow the enemy to stop us from focusing on what God wanted us to do. So we continued with the ministries that we were doing, the prayer gatherings that we're hosting around and helping to facilitate around the country, solemn assemblies. And then later we found, as we went into the hospital, our first chemo was in June of this year, right after we helped facilitate the response prayer gathering in Charleston, South Carolina on June 13th. June 16th we did the chemo. And it wasn't an easy process, but I began to determine right away, this doesn't belong to me, that every time that I went through this process, I was going to take it as intercession for the church and for America and for this generation. So now what the devil put on me doesn't belong to me. I'm turning it around as an opportunity to be a witness to others who are going through similar challenges and adversities, as well as to pray for the very soul of our nation. And when I began to do that, I had a purpose beyond my circumstance, because every adversity is an opportunity for God. And it wasn't an easy process. In fact, on July 3rd, while I was preparing for a gathering in my city in Houston for pastors and leaders, I was getting ready to speak. I woke up in the middle of the night, started losing all my hair. It was the third week after my first chemo. And I woke my wife up and said, honey, the eagle is balding. And she goes, what? And I was joking, but the reality was, here we coming into the next day, July 4th, and we're the bald eagle nation. And I felt like there was something prophetic that said, that can the church unite to heal the bald eagle nation? That the church needs to cross its racial and denominational lines to heal the nation. And in that process, that next day when I shared it on July 4th, the front page of the newspapers actually came out saying, the nation unites to heal the bald eagles. I'm thinking,
Good
wow,
timing.
That was perfect timing. So we wrote an article about that. And when the lion roars, the Lion of tribe of Judah, the eagles will soar. And I felt like it was a time where even when we're weak, when we soar into the brightness of the S-O-N, we regain our strength. We spread our wings like eagles. Well, through that whole process, we never stopped ministering and doing the best we could, even in our weakness and through the chemo fog and all the things they said should happen. It became opportunities of ministry at MD Anderson, every doctor, every nurse, every technician, people we saw that were alone, that didn't have the support base that we had. We used it to turn it around as an opportunity of ministry in a way we'd never been able to minister, even though I've been there many times to minister to others. Well, I was in Philadelphia, and we were ministering a few weeks ago, and what ended up happening was I said, I want to run the Rocky Steps, just like Rocky Balboa. So I ran the flags of the nations, and I prayed for our nation in that process. I haven't run in years, but here I'm running in my do-rag and everything, and I'm running. I get to the Rocky Steps. I ran those steps. I did the Rocky victory thing. I felt so good I had to run it again. The very next day, just before getting ready to go, flew back to Houston before my round 4 of chemo, they wanted to do another PET scan. We did another PET scan. The first one showed my whole body eaten up with cancer. On that PET scan, they brought extra doctors in and medical team and said, we can't explain this, but here's your first PET scan. You have cancer in your whole body. This PET scan shows no evidence of disease.
Hallelujah.
So my first thing
Praise
was,
the
well,
Lord.
that means no more chemo, right? They said, no, you have to finish the chemo because there's always that slight chance it could be, one piece could be hiding.
Yeah.
So we've completed out all of our treatments at the end of September, this past September, and we're trusting God that He is our great physician, He is our healer. And the one thing I realized through this whole process, that no matter what my circumstance looks like, my desire to win had to become greater than my moment of challenge. And no matter what we go through, God never changes. He's still the same yesterday, today, and forever. So I still preached on healing. I still preached on God's goodness. I still preached that He's the great physician and healer. And in the midst of my own challenges, we saw multitudes getting saved and healed and liberated, ministered to, even through what I was living out in my own body.
So you could have said, sorry on me, kind of had, it would have been extremely natural to kind of pull back. You were determined not to do that. Trust God no matter what.
Absolutely. And there are times you go through challenges, and I would tell everybody every day is a good day because I serve a great God. Some days happen to be better good days. But the reality was every day, no matter how difficult it was, I know that God was looking out for me, and I knew He could turn it into an opportunity to minister to someone else.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Doug Stringer. Thank you for
Tom.
sharing your heart with us.